The Galactic Academy of United Species was a very old school. It had been open for 300 years. Students from many planets came here to learn together. They studied science, art, history, and how to live with other species. The academy was built on a peaceful moon with low gravity and clean air. It was safe. It was calm. Nothing dangerous ever happened here, until the day the human arrived. Her name was Una Park. She was 20 years old. She came from a planet called Earth. Most students at the academy had never seen a human before. They had only heard stories. And the stories were scary. Earth was a Class 7 death world. This meant it was one of the most dangerous planets in the known galaxy. The gravity was crushing. The weather was extreme. The air was filled with a gas called oxygen, which could burn things. The planet had earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, and fires. It had giant oceans that could swallow ships. It had forests filled with predators. And somehow, humans lived there. They did not just survive. They became the dominant species. When the academy announced that a human student was coming, panic spread through the dormitories. Trill was a Vellani student. The Vellani were tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin so pale you could see through it. They came from a gentle planet with soft winds and warm rain. Trill had never seen violence in his life. "Did you hear?" Trill said to his friend. "A Deathworlder is coming." A human. His friend, a Vellani named Wisp, turned pale blue with fear. That cannot be true. The council would never allow it. They did allow it. She arrives tomorrow. That night, no one in the dormitory slept well. Una arrived on a quiet morning. 2 academy officials walked beside her. They looked nervous. Una did not understand why. She was just happy to be here. She had worked very hard to get this chance. Earth had only recently joined the Galactic Federation. Very few humans had ever left their planet. Una was one of the first exchange students in history. She walked through the main hall with a small bag on her shoulder. She wore simple clothes. Her dark hair was tied back. She looked around with curious eyes, taking in the strange and beautiful architecture. The ceilings were high. The walls glowed with soft light. Plants from many worlds grew in the corners. It was lovely. Then she noticed that everyone was staring at her. A group of Vellani students pressed themselves against the wall as she passed. Their forearms wrapped around their bodies like they were protecting themselves. A Kovathi student, an insect-like being with 6 legs and hard shell, clicked its mandibles rapidly. This was a sign of extreme alarm. Yun stopped walking. She did not understand. She smiled and raised her hand in a small wave. "Hello," she said. "I am Una. It is nice to meet you." The Kovathi student ran away. Several Vellani students screamed. Una stood there, confused. What had she done wrong? One of the officials leaned toward her. "Perhaps it is best if we move quickly to your room." "But I was just saying hello." "Yes, but when you smile, you show your teeth." Many species see this as a threat display. And when you raised your hand, it looked like you were preparing to strike. Una lowered her hand slowly. "I was just waving." "We understand." But they do not. Give them time. They walked through empty hallways. Students hid behind doors and peeked out as she passed. Una could hear whispers. "She is so dense. Look at her muscles. I heard humans can run for hours without stopping. They eat other animals. They cook flesh with fire. They can survive injuries that would kill us." Una pretended not to hear, but it hurt a little. She had not come here to scare anyone. She had come here to learn and make friends. Her dormitory room was different from the others. The walls were thick. The door was reinforced. There was a special ventilation system. "This is for your safety," the official explained, "and for the comfort of other students." "You mean they are afraid of me?" The official did not answer. That was answer enough. Una sat on her bed after they left. The room was nice. It had a window that looked out at the stars. But it felt lonely that she had a roommate, supposedly. A Florani named Bloom. The Florani were plant-based beings. They had leaves instead of hair and communicated through patterns of light on their skin. Una had been excited to meet Bloom, but Bloom was not there. Yun. I found a note on the other bed. It was written in the common galactic language. Transfer request submitted. Cannot share space with Class 7 organism. Sorry. Una put the note down. She looked out the window for a long time. On Earth, she had been ordinary. She was not especially strong or fast. She was not a soldier or an athlete. She was just a student who loved science and dreamed of seeing the stars. But here, she was a monster. She thought about giving up. She could request a transfer back to Earth. She could tell them it was a mistake. No one would blame her. But then she thought about all the people back home who believed in her. Her parents. Her teachers. The officials who had worked so hard to make this exchange program happen. They were counting on her to show the galaxy that humans were not dangerous. That they could be friends. She could not let them down. Una wiped her eyes and stood up. She would not give up. She would be patient. She would be kind. She would show them who humans really were. Even if it took all year. Even if it was hard. She unpacked her bag and placed a small photo on her desk. It showed her family standing in front of their home on Earth. Green trees filled the background. A blue sky stretched above. Her mother was smiling. Her father had his hand on her shoulder. Home felt very far away. But she was here now. And she would make the best of it. Tomorrow, classes would begin. Tomorrow she would try again. Tomorrow, she would wave without showing her teeth. 3 weeks passed. Una went to all her classes. She sat in the back row. She did not speak unless a teacher asked her a question. She kept her head down. She tried to be invisible. It did not work. Every time she entered a room, students moved away. When she walked down a hallway, beings pressed themselves against walls. When she ate in the cafeteria, the tables around her stayed empty. She heard the whispers. She saw the fear in their eyes, but she did not give up. She learned to smile with her mouth closed. She learned to speak softly. She learned to move slowly so she would not startle anyone. She was trying so hard to be small and gentle, but her body was restless. Humans needed to move. This was something the other species did not understand. On Earth, humans had evolved to run, climb, and hunt. Their bodies stored energy that needed to be released. If a human sat still for too long, they became anxious and uncomfortable. Una had been sitting still for 3 weeks. Her muscles ached. Her mind felt foggy. She needed exercise. The academy had a gymnasium. It was a large dome filled with exercise equipment. Una had walked past it many times but never gone inside. She was afraid of scaring more people. But today, she could not wait any longer. She put on simple exercise clothes and walked to the gymnasium. It was afternoon, and many students were there. She counted about 50 beings of different species. Velani floated on gentle resistance bands. Kalvathi walked slowly on treadmills. Florani stretched their leaves in meditation pods. Everyone moved carefully and quietly. Una stepped inside. For a moment, nothing happened. Then someone noticed her. Deathworlder, a voice hissed. Heads turned. Eyes widened. The room went silent. Una froze. She wanted to turn around and leave. But no, she had come here to exercise. She had every right to be here. She was a student like everyone else. She walked toward the weight section. Behind her, the exodus began. Students rushed toward the exits. Some ran on their legs. Some flew on their wings. Some simply dropped what they were doing and fled. Within seconds, more than half the gymnasium was empty. Yuna tried not to feel hurt. She focused on the equipment. The weights were strange. They were designed for species with different body types. The heaviest weights were labeled extreme for Korath use only. The Korath were a species with thick exoskeletons and great strength. They were considered among the strongest beings in the Federation. Yuna picked up one of the extreme weights. It was light. To her, it felt like a warm-up weight, something she would use before real exercise. But she noticed a few remaining students staring at her with horror. A Korathi named Click was still on his treadmill. He had been too shocked to run. Now he watched the human lift the extreme weight like it was nothing. "This is impossible," Click transmitted to his friend Hum, who was hiding behind a pillar. "She has no exoskeleton. She has no support structure. How is she doing this?" "I do not know," Hum transmitted back. "Should we call security?" "And tell them what?" "She is exercising. That is not a crime." Yuna moved to the pull-up bar. This was a simple piece of equipment, a metal bar hanging from the ceiling. She jumped up and grabbed it. Then she started doing pull-ups. Up and down. Up and down. Her body moved with smooth control. Her arms did not shake. Her face showed no strain. She did 10 pull-ups, then 20, then 30. The remaining students watched in disbelief. Pull-ups were considered an extreme exercise at the academy. Most species could not lift their own body weight. The record for the academy was 12 pull-ups, held by a Korath athlete who trained for years. Yuna did 50 without breaking a sweat. Then something strange happened. Her skin began to glisten. Small drops of water appeared on her forehead and arms. "She is leaking," a Vallani student screamed. "The Deathworlder is leaking fluid." Yuna stopped and looked around. "What? Your skin? It is producing liquid." Yuna looked at her arm. "Oh, this is sweat. It is normal. Humans sweat when they exercise. It helps us cool down." "Cool down? You are overheating?" "A little. It is fine. It happens to all humans." The Vallani student looked like he might faint. To his species, overheating was a medical emergency. The idea that someone could overheat and just continue was terrifying. Yuna wiped her forehead with a towel. She did not know what else to say. One student had not run away. A Florani named Petal had been watching from behind a pillar. Petal was curious by nature. They had always wondered about humans. Now they were seeing one up close. The human was not attacking anyone. She was not roaring or hunting or doing any of the terrible things the stories described. She was just exercising, moving her body, using the equipment. Petal's leaves shifted from purple, the color of fear, to blue, the color of curiosity. They had never seen anything like this before. The human's body was so efficient, so powerful, and yet her face looked peaceful, almost happy. Yuna finished her workout. She sat on a bench and drank water from a bottle. Her breathing was heavy but slowing down. Her skin was wet with sweat. She looked tired but satisfied. The gymnasium was nearly empty now. Only a few brave souls remained, watching from far away. Yuna noticed Petal behind the pillar. Their eyes met. For a long moment, neither moved. Then Petal did something no one expected. They stepped out from behind the pillar and walked toward the human. Click and Hum watched in horror. "What is Petal doing?" Click transmitted. "They will be killed." But Petal kept walking. Their leaves rustled with nervousness. Their skin glowed with shifting colors. But they did not stop. They stopped a few steps away from the human. "Hello," Petal glowed in soft green, the universal color of greeting. Yuna looked up. Her eyes went wide with surprise. In 3 weeks, This was the first time any student had willingly approached her. She did not know what to say, so she just said the simplest thing she could think. Hi. And for the first time since arriving at the academy, Yuna felt a small spark of hope. Petal stood in front of the human. Their leaves were shaking. Their skin was changing colors rapidly. Blue for curiosity, purple for fear, yellow for excitement. They had never felt so many emotions at once. Yuna stayed very still. She did not want to scare this brave little being away. "I am Petal," the Florani said. Their voice came out as soft chimes, and their skin glowed with the words, "I am Yuna. It is very nice to meet you, Petal. You are from Earth." "Yes." Petal tilted their head. They had so many questions. They did not know where to start. So they asked the first thing that came to mind. "Is it true your planet tries to kill you constantly?" Yuna laughed. It was a small laugh, but it still made Petal jump back. Human laughter sounded strange. It was loud and sudden. It could sound like a predator's growl. Sorry, Yuna said quickly. She covered her mouth. "I did not mean to scare you." That sound was laughter. "It means I am happy." Petal's leaves slowly stopped shaking. "Happy? You are happy?" "Yes, your question was funny. And I am happy that you are talking to me. No one has talked to me in 3 weeks." Petal felt a strange feeling in their core. It was something like guilt. They had also avoided the human. They had also believed the scary stories. But now, looking at Yuna's face, they saw something unexpected. Loneliness. The human was lonely. "I am sorry," Petal said softly. "We were afraid." Yuna nodded. "I understand. Humans must seem very strange to you." "Strange and scary," Petal admitted. "The stories say your planet has monsters." "It does. But humans are not monsters. We just live with them." Petal moved a little closer. They sat down on the bench next to Yuna. Other students watching from far away gasped in shock. A Florani was sitting next to a Deathworlder. This was unbelievable. "Tell me about Earth," Petal said. "What is it really like?" Yuna thought for a moment. How could she describe her home to someone who had never seen anything like it? "Earth is dangerous," she began. "That part is true. We have earthquakes that shake the ground, volcanoes that spit fire, storms that can destroy cities. The ocean is so deep that even humans have not explored all of it. And yes, there are predators, animals that hunt and kill." Petal's leaves trembled. "How do you survive?" "We adapt. We learn. We build. Humans are not the strongest animals on Earth. We are not the fastest. We do not have claws or fangs or thick skin. But we have something else." "What?" "Endurance. And each other." Yuna explained. She told Petal about how early humans survived by working together, how they hunted in groups, how they took care of their sick and wounded, how they shared food and shelter, how they passed knowledge from generation to generation. "Humans are social creatures," Yuna said. "We do not like to be alone. We need connection. We need family and friends. Without them, we become sad. We become sick." Petal looked at Yuna with new understanding. "That is why you looked so sad when I came to talk to you." Yuna nodded. "I have been alone for 3 weeks. It has been very hard." A new voice interrupted them. "Hey, are you Yuna?" Both Yuna and Petal turned around. A young man was walking toward them. He was tall with short black hair and a friendly smile. He wore the same simple clothes as Yuna. He moved with the same confident stride. He was human. "I am Do-Wan Lee," he said. "I just arrived today. They told me there was another human here." Yuna stood up so fast that Petal nearly fell off the bench. Her eyes were wide with shock. "Another human?" Here. Yes. Earth decided to send more exchange students. I am the second one. Dowan grinned. It is so good to meet you. I was worried I would be alone here. He extended his hand. Yuna grabbed it and shook it firmly. This was a normal greeting between humans. A handshake, but to the aliens watching, it looked very different. Two Deathworlders were gripping each other's hands. They were showing their teeth. They were making loud sounds. It looked like some kind of dominance ritual. Some kind of threat display. Several students ran out of the gymnasium. Yuna and Dowan did not notice. They were too happy to see each other. How long have you been here? Dowan asked. 3 weeks. How's it been? Yuna hesitated. She looked at Patal, who was watching the two humans with fascination. It has been difficult, Yuna admitted. But it is getting better. Dowan noticed Patal. He crouched down so he was at their level. Hello, I am Dowan. What is your name? Patal's skin glowed with mixed colors. They were nervous but also excited. I am Patal. Nice to meet you, Patal. Dowan did not extend his hand. Yuna had already learned that handshakes scared most species. Dowan had been briefed on the same information. Are you also going to lift heavy things? Patal asked. Dowan laughed. It was louder than Yuna's laugh. Patal jumped again. Sorry, Dowan said. Yes, I probably will. Humans need exercise. Our bodies get restless if we do not move. That is very strange, Patal said. My species does not need to move much. We get energy from light, like plants? Yes, we are like your earth plants. But we can think and talk. Dowan's eyes went wide. That is amazing. I have so many questions. Can I ask you about your biology sometime? Patal's colors shifted to bright yellow. Happiness. Yes. I would like that. Yuna watched this exchange with a warm feeling in her chest. She was not alone anymore. There was another human here, and she had made a friend. A real friend. The three of them sat together in the gymnasium, talking for hours. Other students peeked in from time to time, watching in disbelief. Two Deathworlders and a Florani, sitting together like it was the most normal thing in the world. It was the strangest sight the Academy had ever seen, but it was also, in its own way, beautiful. When the lights dimmed to signal evening, Yuna realized she had not felt lonely all day. She had laughed and talked and shared stories. She had learned about Patal's planet, a warm world where flowers grew as tall as trees. She had learned that Dowan was from a city called Bizan and loved to swim. For the first time since arriving at the academy, she felt like she belonged. That night, she walked back to her dormitory with a smile on her face. Tomorrow would be better. She was sure of it now. She was not alone anymore. News spread through the academy like fire. There were now 2 humans on campus. 2 Deathworlders from the most dangerous planet in the known galaxy. The student council called an emergency meeting. The council room was full. Representatives from every species sat around a large circular table. The council president was a Kovati named Vex. He was old and wise and had led the council for many years. He had never faced a problem like this before. This is a serious situation, Vex clicked. His mandibles moved rapidly, showing his stress. 2 Class 7 Deathworlders in our institution. We must discuss how to handle this. A Valani representative named Silk raised one of her 4 hands. What exactly is the problem? What exactly is the problem? The humans have been here for weeks. They have not harmed anyone. Yet, said another council member. They have not harmed anyone yet. That is not fair, Silk replied. We cannot punish them for something they have not done. Vex raised a claw for silence. No one is talking about punishment. We are talking about understanding. These beings are different from us. Their planet is different. Their bodies are different. We do not know what they are capable of. Petal was also at the meeting. As a representative of the Florani species, they had a seat at the table. They had been quiet until now, but they could not stay silent any longer. I have spent time with the humans, Petal said. Their leaves rustled as all eyes turned to them. They are not dangerous. They are kind. You are brave, Petal, Vex said. But bravery does not equal wisdom. You have only known them for a few days. You cannot be certain of their nature. Then let us find out, Petal suggested. The annual fitness assessment is coming. Let the humans participate. Let us see what they can do. Let us measure them. The room went quiet. The annual fitness assessment was a tradition at the academy. Every year, students competed in tests of strength, speed, endurance, and skill. It was a chance to show off and have fun. No human had ever participated. That is an interesting idea, Vex admitted. If we can measure their abilities, we can understand them better. We can know exactly what we are dealing with. The council voted. The decision was made. The humans would be invited to participate in the fitness assessment. When Yuna and Do-hwan received the invitation, they were confused. They want us to take a gym test? Do-hwan asked. He was sitting in Yuna's dormitory room, looking at the official message. It seems that way, Yuna said. They want to see what we can do. Why? Petal was also there. They had become a regular visitor to Yuna's room. Because they are scared, Petal explained. They do not understand humans. This is their way of learning. Yuna thought about this. She understood the fear. She had seen it every day. But maybe this was an opportunity. If we show them what we can do, she said slowly, maybe they will stop being afraid. Do-hwan looked doubtful. Or they will be even more afraid. Maybe, but we have to try. Do-hwan sighed. Then he nodded. Okay, let us do it. The day of the fitness assessment arrived. The grand arena was packed. Thousands of students filled the seats. In the history of the academy, no event had ever drawn such a crowd. Everyone wanted to see the Deathworlders compete. Yuna and Do-hwan stood at the starting line. Around them were students from dozens of species. Valani, Kovathi, Florani, and many others. All of them were nervous. All of them kept glancing at the humans. The first test was the endurance run. A track circled the arena. Participants had to run as long as they could. Most species tired quickly. Running required a lot of energy. After 10 minutes, half the runners had stopped. After 20 minutes, only a few remained. After 30 minutes, only Yuna and Do-hwan were still running. They ran side by side, their feet hitting the ground in steady rhythm. They were not even breathing hard. Their faces showed no strain. They looked like they could run forever. The crowd watched in stunned silence. After 1 hour, the officials asked them to slow down. After 2 hours, the officials asked them to stop. The track surface was starting to wear down from their footsteps. Yuna and Do-hwan jogged to a stop. They were sweating, but otherwise fine. We could have kept going, Do-hwan said quietly. I know, Yuna replied, but I think we made our point. The second test was the strength test. Weights were lined up in order of heaviness. Participants had to lift as much as they could. The Kovathi students went first. With their strong exoskeletons, they lifted impressive amounts. The current record holder, a Korath athlete, lifted 300 units. Then Do-hwan stepped up. He looked at the weights. He picked up 300 units easily. Then 400. Then 500. The crowd gasped with each lift done at 600 units. The barbell bent. Do-hwan put it down carefully. Sorry, he said. I did not mean to break it. No one knew what to say. The third test was the reflex assessment. A machine launched small balls at high speed. Participants had to catch as many as they could. Most species could catch one or two before the balls became too fast. Una stepped up to the machine. She nodded that she was ready. The balls launched, one after another. Faster and faster. Yun. I caught every single one. Her hands moved so fast they were almost a blur. She did not miss a single ball. When the machine ran out of ammunition, she was still standing there, hands full of balls, looking slightly bored. "It was not that fast," she said with a shrug. The crowd did not respond. They were too shocked to speak. The final test was the recovery evaluation. After all the physical tests, medical staff examined the participants. They checked heart rates, body temperatures, and energy levels. Most species were exhausted. Some could barely stand. The humans were fine. Their heart rates had already returned to normal. Their body temperatures were stable. Small scratches from the tests were already starting to heal. "How is this possible?" the medical officer asked. She was a Villani doctor who had never seen human biology up close. "You should be exhausted. You should be injured. But you are recovering faster than any species I have ever seen." Una smiled gently. Humans evolved on a hard planet. Our bodies learned to recover quickly. It was necessary for survival. The assessment ended. The arena was silent. Then, slowly, something unexpected happened. Someone started clapping. It was a soft sound, a Florani tapping their leaves together. It was Petal. Another student joined in. Then another. Then dozens. Then hundreds. Soon the entire arena was filled with applause. Different species making different sounds, but all expressing the same thing. Amazement, respect, and maybe, just a little bit, acceptance. Yun looked at Dohan. He looked back at her. Neither of them knew what to say, but for the first time, they did not feel like monsters. They felt like heroes. Everything changed after the fitness assessment. At first, Una thought things would get worse. She thought the other students would be even more afraid now that they had seen what humans could do. She prepared herself for more empty hallways and lonely meals. But that is not what happened. The next morning, Una walked to class like she always did. She kept her head down and moved slowly, trying not to scare anyone. But when she entered the classroom, something was different. A Villani student waved at her. Una stopped. She looked around, thinking the wave must be for someone else. But no, the student was looking right at her. "Hello," the Villani said. Her name was Silk. She was the council representative who had defended the humans at the meeting. "May I sit next to you?" Una could not believe it. "You want to sit next to me?" "Yes, if that is okay." "Of course, yes, please." Silk sat down. Her forearms folded neatly on the desk. She was nervous, Una could tell. But she was also curious. "I watched the assessment yesterday," Silk said. "You are very strong." "Thank you. I was scared of you before." "I'm sorry for that." Una shook her head. "Do not apologize. I understand. Humans are strange." "Yes," Silk agreed. "But strange is not the same as bad." That day, 3 more students spoke to Una. The next day, 5. By the end of the week, she could barely walk through the hallway without someone saying, "Hello." The same thing happened to Dowan. Students approached him with questions. They wanted to know about Earth. They wanted to know about human biology. They wanted to know how it felt to be so strong. Dowan answered every question with patience and kindness. He was good at talking to people. He made them laugh. He made them feel comfortable. "You are like me," a young Curvaceous student told him one day. "I am also strong for my species. I know what it is like to be different." Dohan smiled. "Being different is not bad. It just means you have something special to offer." Petal became their official guide to alien culture. They explained which gestures were friendly and which were threatening. They taught Yuna and Dowan about the customs of different species. They helped them avoid mistakes. In return, Yuna and Dowan taught Petal about human culture. They showed them human music and art. They explained human jokes, which were often confusing to aliens. They cooked human food, which was often too spicy for other species. Why do humans eat fire? Petal asked one day, after trying a bite of kimchi. It is not fire, Dowan laughed. It is just spicy. Humans like strong flavors. Your species is very strange. Yes, but you like us anyway. Petal's leaves glowed warm pink. Yes, I do. As the weeks passed, a study group formed around the humans. Students from many species joined. They did homework together. They shared meals together. They became friends. The gymnasium changed too. Before, it had been a place of fear. Students ran away when humans entered. Now, it was different. Yuna and Dowan still exercised there every day. But now, other students joined them. Vellani students tried to lift light weights, with humans spotting them carefully. Kovathi students learned stretching exercises. Florani students practiced breathing techniques. It was not easy. The different species had very different bodies. But they tried. They learned from each other. They grew together. One day, a small Vellani student named Spark asked Yuna to teach him how to do a push-up. Yuna looked at his thin arms and fragile bones. A normal human push-up would break him. We need to modify it, she said. You cannot do what I do. Your body is different. But that does not mean you cannot get stronger. She taught him a gentle version. Instead of pushing against the ground, he pushed against the wall. Instead of fast movements, he moved slowly. It was a small thing, but it was progress. Spark did 3 wall push-ups. His arms shook. His skin turned pale. But he did it. I did it. He cried. I'm strong like a human. Yuna laughed, careful to keep her mouth closed. You are strong like yourself. That is even better. The semester went by quickly. Before Yuna knew it, the final day had arrived. There would be a ceremony. Speeches would be given. Awards would be presented. But first, the student council had an announcement. Vex, the council president, stood before the entire academy. His old mandibles clicked slowly as he spoke. When the humans arrived, he began, we were afraid. We did not understand them. We thought they were dangerous. The audience was silent. Everyone knew this was true. But we were wrong, Vex continued. The humans have shown us something important. Strength does not mean cruelty. Power does not mean violence. The most dangerous beings in the universe can also be the most kind. He turned to look at Yuna and Dawan, who were sitting in the front row. You have changed us, Vex said. You have taught us to look beyond fear, to see the person, not the species. For that, we thank you. The crowd applauded. This time, the sound was warm and genuine. This time, it was not just amazement. It was gratitude. It was friendship. It was love. Yuna felt tears in her eyes. She quickly wiped them away. She did not want to scare anyone by leaking fluid from her face. But Petal, sitting next to her, understood. It is okay, Petal whispered. I know that means you are happy. I am, Yuna whispered back. I am very happy. After the ceremony, the friends gathered one last time in the gymnasium. Yuna, Dohwan, Petal, Silk, Click, Spark, and many others. They had come from different planets. They had different bodies, different cultures, different histories. But they were together now. Will you come back next year? Petal asked. Yuna nodded. Yes, I will come back. I promise. Me too, Dowan added. This place feels like home now. Petal's leaves glowed with every color at once. Joy, sadness, hope, love, all mixed together. That is the human way, is it not? Petal asked. To make home wherever you go? Una thought about this. She thought about her family on Earth. She thought about her new family here. She thought about all the friends she had made, all the fears she had faced, all the walls she had broken through. Yes, she said finally. That is the human way. We carry our home in our hearts, and we share it with everyone we meet. The friends stood together as the lights dimmed. Outside the windows, stars sparkled in the endless dark. Una looked at them and smiled. The universe was vast and strange, and sometimes scary. But it was also beautiful, and she was not alone in it. She never would be again. That was the human way, and it was a good way to be.